Whew. It's cold, it's windy, which means things are changing when it comes to feeding our pigs. So we're gonna dive into that today. Alright, so I see this question a lot, and it is, what do you guys feed your pigs? And then also, what do you guys feed your pigs during the winter months? And so I thought I'd answer some questions for you guys today, but I want to preface with this. We've only had our pigs for a short period of time, a little over a year now, and so we are still building our feeding program, so there's a lot of information out there about what you should feed your pigs and what you shouldn't, and when you should feed them, and this kind of stuff. So take this as a building tool and not me telling you this is the best way to do it, because there are plenty of other ways to do this. This is just the way that works best for us. So the first thing that I want to go over is I want to go over the different components that were just in this bowl that we are putting together for our pig. And then after we go over the components, I'll show you how we measure those out and get them prepared for each pig, and how that plays out between winter and summer, and the things that will change. So number one is going to be your forage or your hay, depending on if it is winter or summer. And what I simply mean by that is your forage is going to be whatever pasture you have out there that they are on, and your hay is basically going to be what you're supplementing during the winter months, so that way they will have that greenery even if they don't have access to it out in the pasture because it's dead or even not there. Now, I do want to preface this, if you are better at planting cool weather forage, then that may help you in the long run with supplementing some of your pig's green intake. So there are a couple of different options when I'm talking about a supplemental hay. Your first option is going to be your Timothy hay or alfalfa hay that you normally would get in a bale. We have used this. We used this last year, and it worked pretty good, except for the fact that our girls don't really like eating that off the ground. So it's time for a pig tip. If you want to keep your hay off the ground, and maybe because your boys and girls are a little picky like ours and they won't eat it necessarily right off the ground, you can put it in one of those cement trays and they can eat right out of the cement tray, and it works great. Another great option for supplementing green is these Timothy pellets. These Timothy pellets are really, really nice in the sense that you just put them in a bucket of water, you let them soak up all the water, and then they are going to expand about 2 or 3 times their normal size. So this is a really great option. You can get it in a 50-pound bag, and it's also a lot cleaner than your other option, which is the bale, because the bale is not dropping everywhere, and these are really, really nice to keep clean. Your third option, which is something that we've tried but kind of strayed away from, is a fodder system, and a lot of people use barley fodder to do this, but basically you're sprouting your grass and then you are taking that and handing it to your pigs, and they're going to eat that. The problem that we ran into with that is it can get kind of expensive depending on where you're buying your seeds, so keep that in mind as you're looking to overwinter your pigs. That might not be the most economical system for you if you have a small herd like we do. Right now we really like the Timothy pellets. They're working really, really well, and I think we're going to stick with that as far as overwintering for the rest of this season. That's what we're going to end up doing. The second component to this is really, really simple. It's a locally sourced, locally milled grain that is about 15% protein, and that's just to give them that little extra protein content in their diet. The third component that we are throwing in this bucket with all of the grain and the supplemental grasses that we're giving is going to be something like a black oil sunflower seed or a garden veggies. Those are the two main things that we always have on hand that we're throwing in here. But there are a couple other components that we might get them as more of a treat, but we are not hesitant to give them to them more than one time a day. Those things are, but not limited to, apples, pears, pumpkins, watermelons, depending on what season you're in. Any kind of like nuts. We like giving them the pecans that fall from the ground and then putting them in their bowl if they haven't already found them, of course, and they love eating that kind of stuff. The other thing that we ended up doing last year was they grew sweet potatoes out here in the field, so when they were done picking the sweet potatoes, we went out and foraged a bunch of them so we could give them some sweet potatoes. Stop. Let's talk about this real quick, because I would hate for you to do this and then something bad happen. Sweet potatoes and regular potatoes are not from the same family. The sweet potatoes are from the yam family, and the regular potatoes are not. And pigs should not eat regular potatoes from what we have found out, so we do not feed them any kind of regular potato. The last thing that we usually give our pigs is some kind of treat. They can have this as we kind of get it. The last thing that we are going to be feeding our pigs on occasion is something that we might have go out of date, or something that might have a crack in it. So that covers any kind of eggs. We'll give them some kind of egg that they love. They love, like, just you should see it. They just explode and they're like, this is great because this egg exploded and it tastes amazing. And we're just thinking it's gross. But they will take an egg, they'll take out-of-date milk, they'll take like a moderate amount of out-of-date yogurt. The other thing that some people do feed their pigs is they feed them whey. We have not experimented with this, but it is a source that I've seen across multiple different people. So whey might be an option for you to feed your pigs as well. So those are the main components that we are usually putting in this bowl for each pig. So let's go ahead and build a bowl, and we can show you kind of like the ratios that we are putting in each of these bowls. So making these bowls are super easy. You're just going to go ahead and get your bowl set up. The first thing you're going to want to add to your bowl is going to be your greens. And this is going to be based on the size of your pig or however you want to feed them. Not all pigs are the same. So for our girls, we usually feed somewhere between 2 to 3 cups per serving, so twice a day. And then for our boys, we usually feed 3 to 4 cups per serving a day. The next thing you're going to add is going to be 1.5 cups of grains if you're feeding twice a day. If you're feeding all at one time, then it's going to be about 3 cups of grain per day. The next supplement we are going to be adding is going to be a black oil sunflower seed, and this is just to help keep that protein level up and give them some kind of variety in their diet. Today we're going to go ahead and add an apple for a special treat for them. And then the next thing that we're going to do, we don't always do this, but sometimes we add it in as a little bit of an extra, but we're just going to add some minerals on top, and all we're going to do is just sprinkle a little bit of these all over the top of this bowl here. And the last treat that our girls are going to get today is we are going to give them some milk that has gone bad. We're just going to pour this in as needed. It'll get soaked up by the grains and the grass and everything else in here, and they will just love this. They love a good helping of milk in their food. So that's what we feed our pigs. That is the gist of most every day around here feeding our pigs, except for maybe the apples and the milk. We don't always have milk and apples, so they don't always make it in the bowl. And before we end today's video, I just wanted to say one more thing. If you are not observing your pigs, please make sure you go out there and you observe your pigs. This stuff is not an exact science, so this is what works for us and our pigs, but all of these Kunekune pigs have a different metabolism rate and may need more supplements and nutrition depending on how your growth rate is going. So for example, if we have a smaller pig and they need more grain, we'll give them more grain or give them more grass or whatever we feel that they may need more of. We can add it to the bowl or get them a bigger bowl, and then that way they can eat more of it. The other thing I do want to mention is, yes, even though we are making one bowl today, we do have one bowl per pig out here, except for our boys. The boys do not have separate bowls, but it's totally up to you if you want to have separate bowls. And I know that there are some people who think that having separate bowls per pig is a little bit too much, and it's just how you want to feed your pig. But this is what works good for us, and we know that the girls go back and forth between the bowls, but at least we know they're getting the proper amount for both pigs because they are very, very similar in what supplements and grains and grasses they actually need together. So hopefully that answers your questions about what we feed our pigs and get you started on the right track to setting up a good feeding program for your pigs as well. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you learned something new today, please give it a big thumbs up. That helps us out a lot. And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. We'd be happy to answer them for you. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell button so you always know when we're going to post a video. And until next time, you guys, we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.